Have years passed with barely a word? Do birthdays come and go without a call? You're not alone, and you're not beyond hope. Sometimes the distance between parents and adult children isn't caused by one big moment, but 100 quiet misunderstandings, unspoken hurts, or the simple drift of time. And yet, that silence can feel louder than any argument. In this video, we'll gently explore how to rebuild trust and connection, even after months or years of no contact. Whether it was a falling out or slow disconnection, you'll learn what to say, what to avoid, and how to begin healing from a place of calm, dignity, and love. Because no matter how long it's been, reconnection is still possible. Part 1. Acknowledge the silence without blame. When trying to reconnect after years of silence, the first and most powerful step is simple, but not always easy. Acknowledge the distance without pointing fingers. You may feel hurt, abandoned, or confused. Maybe you've asked yourself 100 times, "What did I do wrong?" Or maybe you do know what caused the break, but you feel like your side was never heard. That pain is valid, but the moment you reach out with blame, even subtle blame, you risk closing the door again before it ever opens. Instead, speak from your own heart and your own experience, using gentle, reflective language. You might say, "I've missed you deeply. I think about you often. I know it's been a long time, and I'm not here to make excuses. I just want to start fresh if you're open to it. There's a lot I wish I'd said differently. I'm still learning, and I'd love the chance to listen better now." These kinds of messages take courage, but they also remove the pressure from your child and signal something powerful. You're not here to win an argument. You're here to reconnect. Psychologists call this emotionally safe language. It lowers defensiveness and increases the chance of a response. In fact, many adult children stay silent not because they don't care, but because they don't know how to return without getting pulled into conflict or guilt. By acknowledging the silence, gently, humbly, and without blame, you create a space that feels safe, soft, and open. And that's the kind of space people want to return to. It's not about erasing the past. It's about opening the door to the future, quietly, bravely, and with both hands. Part 2. Reflect on the past without getting stuck there. Once you've opened the door gently, the next step is to take a quiet look backward. Not to rehash every disagreement or painful memory, but to reflect with humility and maturity. If your relationship with your adult child broke down, there were likely layers of misunderstandings, unmet needs, or unspoken feelings on both sides. That doesn't mean it was all your fault, but it also doesn't mean your child's feelings weren't real. Reflection isn't about assigning blame. It's about acknowledging what might have been felt. Try asking yourself, were there moments when I dismissed their choices or offered advice too forcefully? Did I unintentionally make them feel judged, controlled, or not good enough? Were there things I said out of love that might have sounded like guilt or criticism? This isn't self-punishment. It's emotional clarity. The more you can understand how your words might have landed, even if you meant well, the more you can approach your child from a place of empathy, not defensiveness. You might even express this reflection directly. "I've had time to think about some of our conversations, and I realize I may have made you feel judged when that was never my intention. I see now that some of the ways I tried to connect may have felt more like pressure than support. I'm sorry for that." These kinds of reflections do two things. First, they show emotional growth, that you've taken this time apart not just to wait, but to learn. Second, they help disarm old pain. When someone feels seen in their hurt, it becomes easier to soften and to listen. And remember, this step is not about fixing the past. It's about honoring it, with honesty and without getting stuck in it, so that a new future can begin. Part 3. Make the first move, without expectations. Once you've done the quiet inner work of reflection, it's time to take action. And that action starts with something simple, brave, and often terrifying: reaching out. Many parents hesitate here. Shouldn't they be the ones to contact me? What if I make it worse? Or worse yet, what if they don't respond? But here's the truth. Reconciliation doesn't begin with pride. It begins with courage, the kind of courage that reaches out not with a demand, but with an invitation. Start small. Send a note, a card, a short message. Keep it warm, brief, and open-hearted. Something like, "Hi. I've been thinking about you a lot lately. I know things haven't been easy between us. I miss you and hope you're doing okay. No pressure to respond. Just wanted you to know you're in my heart." Or, "I understand we've had distance. I'm here if you ever feel ready to talk. I'd love that." Avoid emotional traps like, "Why haven't you written?" or "I guess you don't care anymore." These messages, even when hurt is real, can come across as guilt trips. And guilt repels where kindness invites. Instead, lead with humility, not history. Show your child that you're reaching out not to force a resolution, but to open a door, even if just a crack. What matters is not the perfect words. It's the tone, the energy, the intention to reconnect without conditions. And yes, the hardest part is releasing expectations. You may not hear back right away. You may not get the response you hoped for. But even if your message is met with silence, it plants a seed. One that says, "I care, and I'm here when you're ready." That seed may take time to grow, but it won't grow at all if it's never planted. You've already taken the hardest steps: softening your heart, examining your part. Now, this first move, this is your quiet act of love in motion. Part 4. Give space, but stay present. After you've made the first move, a message, a letter, a phone call, the next challenge is just as important: patience. When a relationship has been strained or silent for years, it won't be repaired overnight. That's where the delicate balance of giving space while staying emotionally present becomes essential. You may feel the urge to follow up the next day, or week, or to ask, "Did you see my message?" But real reconnection happens at the other person's pace, not ours. Especially if your child is still carrying pain, resentment, or simply emotional exhaustion, they may need time to even process your reach out, let alone respond. That doesn't mean they don't care. It just means trust needs room to breathe. So, what does it mean to stay present while giving space? It means continuing to live your life with openness and love, even without immediate feedback. It means resisting the urge to pull back again if they don't respond right away. It means not assigning meaning to silence, because sometimes silence is just someone still working through their emotions. Staying present can look like sending a holiday card without expectation, commenting warmly on a social media post if you're connected online, simply lighting a candle or saying a quiet prayer for them each day, a silent reminder that your heart is open, even if the line of communication isn't. You can also journal your feelings during this time. Write letters you don't send. Let out the emotions, the hopes, the fears, not to pressure your child, but to stay emotionally grounded as you wait. This is a powerful form of unconditional love. You've made the first move. Now, you create a safe emotional space, not filled with guilt, pressure, or timeline, but one where, should your child ever wish to step back in, they'll find the door unlocked and the light still on. True reconnection grows not through force, but through gentle consistency. Part 5. Rebuild through small, consistent moments. When a relationship has been strained for years, we often dream of the big breakthrough, the emotional phone call, the hug at the door, the tearful reconciliation. And while those moments do happen, most reconnections aren't marked by one dramatic event. They're built, slowly, gently, through small moments repeated over time. If your adult child eventually responds or opens the door even a crack, don't try to rush through it. Resist the temptation to bring up everything at once or fix the past in one conversation. Rebuilding trust and connection is like healing a scar. It takes time, light, and care. So, what can these small, consistent moments look like? Maybe it's texting a simple, "thinking of you, no need to reply." Maybe it's sending a short memory you thought of, a favorite song, an old photo, a recipe they used to love. Maybe it's asking about their life, without offering advice unless they ask. Consistency matters more than perfection. You don't have to say the perfect thing. You just have to keep showing up. In words, in tone, in presence. The more you do, the more you remind your child that this isn't just a one-time effort. It's a shift. And over time, these small moments become emotional stepping stones. Each one builds a little more safety, a little more warmth, a little more space for authentic connection. If you're lucky, you'll notice a shift. A reply becomes a conversation. A cold tone softens. A call lasts longer than 5 minutes. A holiday invite arrives. These are the gentle signs that the foundation is being rebuilt. But even if things stay slow or uncertain, take heart. You are modeling something powerful. Emotional maturity, humility, and unconditional love. And that energy has a ripple effect, even if it's not always visible. Healing long-distance relationships doesn't happen with grand gestures. It happens when love becomes predictable again, not in a forced way, but in a steady, reassuring one. Part 6. Accept their boundaries without taking it personally. One of the hardest truths in repairing a strained relationship with your adult child is this. Even if they begin to reconnect, they may set firm boundaries, and you have to respect them without resentment. It might sound like, "I'm not ready to talk about the past," or "let's keep our conversations light for now," or even, "please don't bring up that topic again." These can feel cold, dismissive, or unfair, especially when you're putting in effort and genuinely trying. But often, these boundaries aren't about rejecting you. They're about protecting themselves. Your child may still be working through pain, mistrust, or memories that are too raw to revisit. Their limits are a way to feel safe while opening up. And honoring those limits shows emotional maturity and long-term commitment on your part. Let's be clear, acceptance doesn't mean agreement. You can disagree with their version of events or wish they'd let you explain more. But pushing past their boundaries too soon can undo months of gentle progress. It signals that your need to be heard is more important than their need to feel safe. And that reopens old wounds. Instead, try phrases like, "Thank you for telling me that. I'll respect it." "I want to support the relationship in whatever way feels right for you." "Whenever you're ready for deeper conversations, I'm here." These responses may feel counterintuitive, especially if you're hurting, but they help your child feel in control of the pace, and that sense of control is what allows trust to grow. And here's the surprising part. When you don't take their limits personally, it shows them that things really have changed, that you've grown too, that this time, you're not here to argue or prove a point. You're here to connect, gently and patiently. Over time, those boundaries may soften, conversations may deepen, but even if they don't, respecting their space is a sign of profound love, the kind that doesn't demand anything in return. Part 7. Celebrate the small wins along the way. When reconnecting after years of silence, it's tempting to hope for a big, emotional reunion, a heartfelt conversation that instantly repairs everything. But real healing doesn't usually arrive in one grand moment. It arrives quietly, in tiny steps. And learning to notice and celebrate those small wins is one of the most important things you can do. Did your child reply to your message with more than just one word? That's progress. Did they send a photo of their kids or share something from their day? That's a small window into their life they've chosen to open. For you, did they laugh at your joke during a phone call or agree to a short lunch visit? These are not minor things. these are seeds of connection. If you focus only on what's still missing, the deep conversations, the frequent visits, the full trust, you may miss the quiet moments that say, "We're healing, even if slowly." Try to keep a simple journal or list of what's going well. Not to measure success, but to remind yourself that change is happening. Healing is happening. It's just not always loud. And just as importantly, let them know you notice these steps, with no pressure attached. A simple, "It meant a lot to hear from you this week," or "Thanks for sharing that photo. It made my day," tells them their effort matters. It shows appreciation without expectation. Why is this so powerful? Because positive reinforcement builds momentum. When your child feels safe and seen in these small moments, they become more open to bigger ones. A text becomes a call. A short visit becomes an invitation. A small share becomes a deeper conversation. So don't wait for everything to be perfect before you feel grateful. Feel grateful for now, for anything that builds closeness, even a little. Because the truth is, relationships are rebuilt one small act at a time, and each of those acts is a bridge that brings you a little closer to the child you've missed for so long. At the end of it all, what truly matters is this: that your love becomes louder than the silence that separated you. When years of disconnection have built a wall, it's easy to focus on what went wrong. Who said what? Who didn't call? Who hurt whom? The past starts to feel like a list of wounds, replayed over and over. But the truth is, you can't rewrite those old chapters. What you can do is start a new one. And that new chapter doesn't have to begin with an apology or an explanation. It can begin with love. Love isn't always about saying, "I'm sorry," or hearing, "I forgive you." Sometimes it's just about showing up again, gently, quietly, without fanfare. It's about sending that first message, remembering a birthday, asking about their life without asking for anything in return. It's about letting your child know, "I'm here now, I care now, I want to try." The beautiful part is, love doesn't demand perfection. It doesn't rush. It makes room. Room for awkward beginnings. Room for slow rebuilding. Room for people to come as they are. Yes, it takes courage to reach out again. But here's what might surprise you. Your adult children may be waiting for this too. They might carry guilt, or fear, or just uncertainty about how to begin again. And your courage could be the very thing that gives them permission to let go of their own walls. So let your love be patient. Let it be soft. Let it speak not through guilt or pressure, but through consistency, curiosity, and warmth. Even if they don't respond the way you hoped, not yet, you've still done something powerful. You've broken the silence with kindness. You've chosen to lead with your heart. And that's how reconnection begins. Not with a dramatic reunion, but with a quiet message, a gentle voice, a hand extended, again and again. Because in the end, what reconnects us isn't the perfect conversation. It's love that doesn't give up.